Hello friends, it's Teri with Teri's Mailbox presenting for cut cardstock using Pop Tone Cardstock. So again, I created these two layered die cut cards. I'm using a honeybee anemone layered die cut set that I just got. So again, I've got to play with my new dies and things as soon as I've got them. So I ended up cutting a bunch of layers for the flowers. So again, these are grape jelly, grapesicle. I used cougar cardstock, hot fudge, black licorice, and gold to create the flower layers. So you can see here I'm using my little spongy thing and my round tool to kind of give the flower bases some shape. So again, I kind of played with them by rotating a circle in the center to pop the edges up, and then use the that little tool over there to create the curves in the side of the flowers. And so after I got this step done, I went ahead and added the gold, black, and brown flower centers. And then I also, of course, created the leaves. So you can see here, this is how all of the flowers and the leaves and buds turned out. So again, I tend to do this. I make all the parts up front, and then I play with creating my card. So again, I wanted to put a singular flower in the center, and I decided to do a circle die cut, and then also to texturize that base and pop it up with fun foam. So again, here I'm just trimming so that I have a 1/4 inch edge all the way around the outside of my A2 card for the textured card base. So again, just trimming it here and checking it. So the next thing I did was I wanted to, again, cut the circle and texturize it. So this is the Altenew organic linen background, which I really like. It's just kind of a neat texture. And then here I am kind of picking out the appropriate size circle to die cut the texturized piece. Bit of advice, I would cut the circles first and then texturize the cardstock, and that way you've got more depth and texture. So again, this is how it's going to kind of go together. And of course, I have my cup of coffee here in the screen. I use double-sided tape to attach, foam tape, because again, the glue just never seems to work for me. So the double-sided tape is a trick to get good adhesion and also not have all the lumps and the dry spots that you get when using glue. So again, here I'm going to start designing my card. So I know I want the flower to go in the middle, and I used a piece of foam tape to pop up the center of that flower there. So that's kind of what I'm playing with. So again, I've got, actually I didn't use foam tape, I actually used the circle, from the die cut center, because again, it was a double-sided piece of cardstock. So I trimmed it to be just below, or smaller than that floral piece. And then obviously it'll fit in the center of that circle. So again, I'll go ahead and take off the backing, and then I'll go ahead and center that flower. And then I got to figure out where I want my leaves. I want it to have plenty of green and purple blooms around the outside of it. So I'm just kind of picking up the edge of the base flower, and then I'll put the stems in there, and then I go back with white glue and glue the leaves and the buds onto the card base. And I'm always making sure that they don't hang off the end. I don't want to have to trim these. But it is kind of cool because you've got that 1/4 inch overlap that the edges of the leaves can hang over. So again, once I've found my space there, I'll go ahead and grab my white glue and just, pop the little pops of white glue behind there. And then I'm going to put it under an acrylic block to help it stick. Again, that textured background does create a little bit of a challenge. So we'll go ahead and put an acrylic block and set that aside. And then I'm going to start working on the sentiment. So I pulled out my trusty Misty, and I am stamping just this sweet little sentiment. This is from an Altenew set, Missing Your Smile. And then I will die cut it using that small die cut sitting to the lower right. I'll go ahead and tape it on and run it through my die cut machine. And then prior to attaching to the card, I ended up cutting a couple more strips and taping them to the back so that, again, it made that that sentiment strip pop up. So I'm cutting a hole here in the middle, and I added a little piece of purple ribbon, which, yes, it does hang off the side, but that's okay because it folds into the envelope nicely. So once I found my space, I went ahead and added more tape runner and then added it to the card, and then that card is complete. So again, that's a hot dog style card. So again, here I'm working on the mini slimline. So I cut a stencil using a piece of cardstock the same size as that card base, and then I'm going ahead and ink blending in the inside. And you can see I had two colors of purple because I wasn't happy with the first color. So I had to go back and ended up using this Distress Oxide purple for the background oval, and then I ended up adding some shimmer spray, just kind of some spots here to the background of that blended oval. And so the next thing I'm doing is just arranging the flowers. Like I say, when you get your flowers in pieces as parts put together up front, it's very easy to design and create the card. So again, I'm just kind of adding white glue here and trying to figure out where I want my floral pieces. So I'll get those all put together. And then the next thing I'm going to do is add some ink, smoosh some ink there on my craft mat. And I'm going to add a little water, and I'm doing more splatters on there. And again, just kind of covering the entire card. So I've got some on the flowers, some on the leaves, more on the background. So again, it just kind of adds a little bit of a pop of color and interest rather than just having a plain background. So again, I think I'm finished with that part. So the next thing I'm doing is I have this sentiment that I found in my stash. I tend to die cut and assemble shadow sentiments and keep them near my desk so that I can use them on different projects. So I added foam tape all the way around. So now I'm just trying to decide where I want it, and I'm thinking I like the middle better. So we'll go ahead and put that there. And so that's that card. And then there's my other card. So there's two different versions of textured layer die cut cards. So again, this is Teri with Teri's Mailbox. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Blogger, and YouTube.